Hello, my beautiful babies, and welcome to our final class. It is the last session, session 12 of Children of Dune Club. Children of Dune Club. We did it again for the third time. We've come to Arrakis for the third time, and everyone who's been following along, for all of you who've been through Dune Club, Dune Club 2, and now Children of Dune Club, you truly are a Fremen warrior. You truly are a Fremen warrior to be able to fucking A, get through the first book, B, get through the second book because it's so sad, and then come back for more. And the third book picks up. It's a little bit easier. It's like less fucking sad. I mean, it's still sad though, and we're gonna talk about the saddest scene is coming up. The saddest scene is coming up, and for this session, you need to have read pages 547 to 605 in this in this book. So you got to read to the last page. Whatever you're in, read to the last page. And the last sentence of the last page is, one of us had to accept the agony, she said, and he was always the stronger. That's sexist. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. So, all right, let's do our recap for session 12. It's our final session of Children of Dune Club, and there's many loose ends that must be tied up. Getting ready for Farad'n's arrival, Leto takes his father to meet up with Gurney Halleck, and they prepare for their trip to meet the young man. Meanwhile, Ghanima is kidnapped and taken back to Arrakis herself for her betrothal. Now in the city, the Carino heir has arrived, and everything is going to plan. Alia awaits to hatch her scheme, allowing Ghanima to slay the prince in their first meeting. The Lady Jessica and her royal pupil join Alia in her eyrie to watch the preacher's fiery sermon down below, which ends in his assassination. Leto bursts on the scene and with Ghanima in tow and says the words that wake her from her hypnotic trance, spoiling Alia's plot, and then taking his aunt and whirling her around his head before giving her the choice to commit suicide or face the trial of possession. What a choice. What's left of Alia chooses to fall to her death, and now both of Lady Jessica's children are dead before her eyes. Fucking sucks. In the ensuing days, Leto's plan for Farad'n as his sister's breeding partner is revealed as he ascends the throne, taking homage from all of the Fremen tribes and the Carino prince, making him the court scribe, renaming him Hark al-Ada, and announcing his marriage to his sister, Ghanima. Whoa. What an ending, guys. What a fucking ending. Holy shit. This was so good. All right. Here we go. All right, gotta get my water ready. And all right, well, here we go. Chapter 59. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Leto, the preacher, and Gurney Halleck. I really liked the header for this chapter. It says that Muad'Dib was disinherited, and he spoke for the disinherited of all time. He cried out against that profound injustice which alienates the individual from that which he was taught to believe, from that which seemed to come to him as a right. He definitely is. He definitely is the archetype of the disinherited, for sure. So Muad'Dib, so Gurney is at Shulak. He's watching the cast out. They're doing their fucking little jobs here. And spice production, Leto's told him that spice production is getting ready to fall, but stabilize at 1/10 of its peak in the Harkonnen years. Remember the Harkonnens were real slave drivers? Well, the rest of the Imperium is probably like, oh my gosh, what a great time that was. But that's getting ready to change. Stockpiles throughout the Empire have doubled in value at every new posting. 321 leaders were said to have bought half of Novabrun's planet from the Matuli family. So spice, the spice is going up in value here. Okay, there's less spice, higher value, supply and demand. So the cast out are now praying to little Lord Leto as Shai-Hulud personified after he broke in to Shuloch, destroyed their Qanat, decapitated some folks with a hand. He was like, whoosh, fuck you, your head's gone. Laughed at their weapons and roared at them in a demon voice. And he said, fire will not touch me, your knives will not harm me. I wear the skin of Shai-Hulud. So fucking shut up. And they did. And they're like, okay, sir, whatever you fucking say, sir. He's like, I've got 2 guests here. All right, this is my place now. I'm going to live here, so you go ahead and you fix the Qanat I just destroyed. I need you to plant an oasis garden. I'm going to come back. I'm going to move in. You're not allowed to sell any more spice either. You're supposed to collect it. So we're not selling to off-worlders anymore. We're just collecting it. So you just stop your bullshit and you just fucking do what I tell you to do. And they're like, yes, sir. No problem, sir. Gurney meets the preacher. And Leto tells him to guard the preacher. He's like, guard this man. I need you to, like, look out for him. And Gurney tries to argue about completing his education to make sure. He's like, well, I haven't, Lady Jessica told me to complete your education, and you could be possessed still. And Leto's like, I'm not possessed. Like, we did it. It's over. Like, you need to calm down. It's like, I ran away because Namri was going to kill me no matter what I did. Like, I wasn't trying to run away from you, bitch. I was trying to get away from Namri. That guy sucked. So you should know he tried to kill you. The preacher pipes up to Gurney. He's like, you think you can test him? Like, the preacher's been silent this whole time, but now he's finally, like, piping up. And he's like, there was some old lady who thought she knew what she was doing when she was trying to test me. But guess what? She didn't know what the fuck. Guess what? Referring to Gaius Helen Mohim when she administered the Gom Jabbar to Paul in the first book. And Gurney at first, he's like, this isn't Paul. He looks at him. He's like, this isn't Paul. But the preacher keeps talking. He correctly surmises what Jessica was up to with Leto. He goes on to explain that Leto is not Abomination. Gurney starts to question the preacher's like, who are you? Who are you, dude? Like, who the fuck are you? And then he's like, I tell you, only to look at this Atreides youth, he is the ultimate feedback upon which our species depends. He'll reinsert into the system the results of its past performance. No other human could know that past performance as he knows it. And you consider destroying such a one. You know, you're a fucking idiot. Gurney's still unconvinced. And the preacher's like, you persist in this Bene Gesserit nonsense, how they create the myths by which men sleep. Paul Atreides is no more. He tried to stand as a supreme moral symbol, which he renounced. While he renounced all moral pretensions, he became a saint without a god. Every word a blasphemy. The preacher continues to fuck with Gurney. He fucks with his head, like, so hard. He, like, fucks with him so heavy that he snaps Halleck into a state of, like, deep concentration of, like, nowness. Where, like, he wakes up and, like, he sees the preacher. He's like, oh my god, this guy's really is Paul. And then he looks at Leto and he's like, Leto's fucking enlightened. You know, he sees, like, his fucking aura coming off of him. And he's like, holy shit. Like, this is fucking crazy. Leto stood out from his background as though at the focus of a blinding light, he had achieved harmony by simply accepting it. He's an enlightened being. That's the trick, guys. You want to find enlightenment? All you gotta do is accept it. It's right there. You just gotta let go, accept it. It's hard. It's real hard. But it's easy. That's the trick. And that's the trick. You know, it's like trying to get that enlightenment. It's like the easiest thing in the world, but getting yourself to be able to do that is the hardest thing. So he's like, does your mom know that you're alive, Paul? Does your mom know? You know, and he's like, no. And please don't try to revive me. Okay, please. He's like, but you're alive. And you look twice as old as I do. Like, what the fuck? It's like, you're alive. And he's like, what is that? My mother never had to learn my lesson. To be a god can ultimately become boring and degrading. There would be reason enough for the invention of free will. A god might wish to escape into sleep and be alive only in the unconscious projections of his dream creatures. I love that. That's exactly, well, in all my occult studies, that's kind of like what I keep reading. Like, that's what I keep reading, whether it's like the Kabbalah in particular, you know, the monad, the everything, you know, the pure consciousness became aware of itself. and then tore itself apart to experience itself, because it's like, well, it's not fun if it's just you. If everything's just you, it's fucking boring. Like, it just sucks. Like, you want to fucking no. And so the monad shattered in all these different spheres, the spheres of the Kabbalah, until we get to Malkuth, and that's where the physical reality is, and that's where God experiences themselves. So I just want to say that again. To be a god can ultimately become boring and degrading. That'd be reason enough for the invention of free will. A god might wish to escape into sleep and be alive only in the unconscious projections of his dream creatures. We're just dream creatures. None of this is real. I mean, even like in the Hindu tradition, it's like it's Maya. This is all an illusion. This is a god dreaming. Like we're all like inside of a dreaming god. It's like so fucking cool. And Gurney's like, man, Paul is alive and in league with this question mark that he's fathered. Like, holy shit. And Paul's just like, look, think of me only as the preacher. I'm not Paul. I'm not Muad'Dib. I'm not the fucking emperor. Okay, I'm not Chinese mate. I'm none of that. Okay, so you just need to, like, forget it. The Fremen are overhearing this. They're freaking out. They're like, oh my god, you're Muad'Dib? Like, holy shit, what are you doing? What? And Leto does some crowd control. He tears a rock from a passage wall and crumbles it while smiling. He's like, get back, you fucking assholes. And he's like, I will fucking tear down your fucking seats right around your faces, all right? So we've not been here. We haven't been here. You got it? So keep your mouths shut, okay? And then he tells his fucking bros, he's like, let's kick rocks, fellas. Faradin's coming. Let's get out of here. Let's fucking get out of this fucking siege. Let's move on to chapter 60, Kidnapped. This one also has a really great header. Church and state, scientific reason and faith, the individual and his community, even progress and tradition. All of these things can be reconciled in the teachings of Paul Muad'Dib. He taught us that there exist no intransigent opposites except in the beliefs of men. Anyone can rip aside the veil of time. You can discover your future in the past or in your own imagination. Doing this, you win back your consciousness in your inner being. You know then that the universe is a coherent whole and you are indivisible from it. I love that. That's also some Alan Watts business. Akira the Dawn in the newest Watts Wave album called Watts Wave 6. The Secret, number 1, The Secret, talks a lot about how there are no opposites. They're just two sides of the same coin. We have these seemingly antagonistic opposites, but that they are implicitly one. And I fucking love that. It's really great stuff. So anyways, Ganima is bummed. Against her wishes, against her advice, Stilgar is meeting with that Agarves guy who Ollie has, been fucking. And this dude's trying to spout some nonsense. He's trying to be like, oh, Alia will give you a full pardon. Like, it's totally cool. It's fine. It's totally fine. You'll get a complete pardon. And Stilgar's like, I killed her husband, dude. Like, I'm not stupid. Like, what are you talking about right now? It's like, he might as well have fallen on his own knife. Okay? Like, I mean, I killed her husband. It wasn't because I fucking wanted to, but because he fucking made me, and he might as well have fallen on his own fucking knife. But I killed her husband. And also, we've heard that you're fucking her, so we don't fucking trust you, dude. That sends fucking Agarves. He's like, believe what you will, but I cannot go on with that woman. She fouls me. She dirties everything she touches. I am used. I am soiled, but I have not lifted my knife against my kin. Like, he's having a fucking come apart, man. Like, all he is. The Baron actually is doing a real number on this fucking guy. Real number. And still believes him. He hears the truth in his voice, and he's like, starts negotiating, and like Ganima's like, fuck, don't fucking do that. And then it finally comes out that Alia really just wants Ganima, and she's like, oh, Stilgar, like, don't fucking. And then while she's thinking this, while she's like looking from around the corner, someone kidnaps her. They fucking drug her, take her away. It's over. Some people followed that fucking Agarves guy. He wasn't a part of it. He was being truthful, but he was followed. And so now Ganima has been kidnapped by her aunt, Alia. So now she's on the way to Arrakeen. Chapter 61, This Cursed Holiness. So Leto's getting ready for his big move. He's still out in the desert. They've left Shulak, but he's thinking to himself, freedom is a lonely state. It is. It is. And he thinks he's no longer completely human. Odd things swam in his blood. Sand trout cilia had penetrated every organ, adjusting, changing. Oof. And remember, he can feel all that. I mean, he's aware on a cellular level, so it's like, damn, that's fucking crazy. And he thinks also to himself, let the future happen of itself. The only rule governing creativity is the act of creation itself. Which is also like harkens back to some Watts Wave business that I've listened to, where it's like, that's the whole point. Like there isn't some big point. The point is just to do it. Like just creation is just creation. That's the point. There's not some far reaching other fucking thing going on. It's just for experiences. And he also thinks to himself, I could just walk away into that desert right now. I could just stop I could just walk away right now. I got everything I need. I got this fucking suit. I don't need anything else. Like, I'm fucking good. It'd be so easy. He remembers Duncan, Idaho, when they first got to Arrakis, like the first time in the first book, saying that he was like, had never met a greedy Fremen, and about how, there's plenty of greedy Fremen now. But then he's like, all right, enough of this wallowing. I'm committed. I'm committed to this path, and it's at a terrible fucking price, but we're doing it, The preacher comes out, old before his time, not despite the spice, but because of it. He's like, hey, Leto, Faradn's here. And Leto's like, yeah, I know. I face a difficult choice. And his dad's like, I thought you'd already made all the choices. And he's like, oh, we know that trap, father. I love that little fucking tete-a-tete going back and forth. Now Leto would not be relying on pure vision, but on vision management. So that's what his dad did wrong. His dad was like, he was half committed, and he was like trying to like grasp onto some full-ass vision while also being fucking half committed. Leto's like fully committed, and he's all about that vision management program. Okay, it's a vision management program. And he's like, hey, Dad, will you let me be your guide? Will you go preach one more time? Will you come back with me to the city? And he's like, dude, I'll do whatever, man, whatever. It's your universe. We just live in it. And he's like, well, have you considered that your mom's going to be there, with Farad'n? And he's like, yeah, I have. He clears his throat nervously. And I really like that. Like, he's been so fucked up that he's like allowing a nervousness. Even the preacher is still nervous about seeing his mom. Paul's just still nervous about seeing his mom after like everything he's been through, everything that's gone on. There's just something about your parents, man, that like freak you out. Even fucking Paul Atreides is like a little nervous about running into his mom. But Leto kind of feels bad. He's like, well, you don't have to go if you don't want to, but he's like, no, I'll come with you. He's like, Gurney's staying behind though. We don't want him to fucking eat it. I've seen it in a vision that if he comes with us, it's not gonna be good. So we're gonna leave him. And Paul thinks this cursed holiness, the sandy juice of his fears, could not be avoided. He knew what faced them in Arrakeen. They would play a game once more with terrifying and deadly forces, which could never bring them peace. He's like, fuck. Here we go. Back into the dragon's mouth. Here we go, baby. Here we fucking go. Chapter 62. It's on. The Trial of Abomination. And we're back in Arrakeen. Alia's hanging out in her temple, Eyrie. Everything's going according to plan. Fucking Farad'n's here. Yes. Ganima's here. Fuck yeah. Stilgar and Irulan are in the dungeons. She's watching some off-world women dance seductively in her name. Doing some fucking dance for the womb of heaven. And she thinks to herself the basic sexual equality had come out of the desert to persist in Fremen town and city, but social differences between male and female were already making themselves felt. That, too, went according to plan. Divide and weaken. Alia could sense the subtle change in the way the two Fremen watched those off-planet women in their exotic dance. Let them watch. Let them fill their minds with gafla. Let them dance. Dancing wasted energy, which might be put to more destructive uses. I love the divide and conquer. It's like the Fremen, like they were in such a survivalist mode that there was no time for fucking gender politics bullshit. Like they were just like, we've all got to band together and survive. And of course there are differences between the sexes, but like they were more about surviving together and like actually like super working together to keep themselves alive. So just all the bullshit was put to the sides. And now that they don't have that strain on them, they are kind of starting to divide. And when they do that, they are weakened, which I think that's really interesting. The women were as deadly as the dudes, right? Says Charlie Drama. Oh yeah. And there was no rape in Fremen culture either. There was none of that going on. I mean, men had multiple wives, but they were like down with it. It was fine, And like we talked about earlier, it was to pinpoint male sterility. So it was for the good of the tribe. Like, so Fremen culture was like, it was fucking super, super chill. It was like, they found a really great balance between, their humanity. They focused more on the things that were the same, and less on their differences. I mean, there are differences, but they used their differences to hold each other up, which I really like. Like, I think that's really progressive because we have all this, all this stuff going on right now, and people just like, oh God, it's just too much. They're like, you know what progressive is? Progressive is having a team of only women, and it's like, well, no, that's exactly what the men did. Like, that's not progress. Like, that's the same, except you're just casting women in the male roles. That's not fucking progressive. Like, men and women working together, holding themselves up, holding each other up with their differences is, in my opinion, progress. That's how I look at it. But whatever. Back to the book. The preacher shows up. Ollie's pissed. She's like, fuck, what is he doing? Paul, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, God damn it, Paul. And Faradin's at the door. He's like requesting an audience because he hears that she has the best vantage point. He wants to watch the preacher do his fucking thing. And she's like, fine, show him in, But before I show him in, talks to Zia, her aide. Have Ghani accoutred in the Fremen bride, as a Fremen bride in every detail. Complete with knife. Complete. Fremen brides have a knife. And have 5 attendants go down and invite the preacher up here. Absolutely no force. Do not use force, okay? Just have them invite the preacher up here. Have Ghanima prepared. And then when I give you the signal, I want you to have them brought in simultaneously. I need you to bring them in simultaneously, okay? So you do that. All right, go ahead and send Faradin in. And she thinks in just a few minutes the plan will bear its bloody fruit, and Paul will be here to see when his daughter delivers the coup de grace to his holy pretensions. It would be over soon. All over. So she's so excited. Wow, I want Paul to see his daughter kill Faradin and like fuck everything up. Like, that's what I want to see that. I want him to watch the Atreides just their name just fall into the mud. Enter Faradin, Jessica, Tykanik. Jessica, I love that she puts herself between Faradin and the guards. She's like always fucking. She's guarding this little dude. And Alia, it's funny, Alia sees Faradin and she thinks he's hot, and she's already thinking of maybe fucking him, even though she's literally about to have him killed. It's like, what are you doing, Baron? What are you doing, Baron? Yeah. Oh, I see clear from the Dune Wiki. Gafla is a Chagopsa term meaning distraction. So, anything, Gafla means anything that distracts one from God. The term is specifically important in Sufi Islam. Yes, and Western culture is filled with Gafla. We are filled with Gafla. It's a real problem here. We're very eye-oriented, so we're very distracted. It's a problem, but whatever. We'll figure it out eventually, I guess. So the preacher shows up. He's like, starts preaching. He's like, I found myself in the desert of Zan. The desert of Zan. It's where the Zen Sunni came from, who were like the descendants of like the Fremen. In that waste of howling wilderness, and God commanded me to make that place clean. For we were provoked in the desert and grieved in the desert, and we were tempted in that wilderness to forsake our ways. Wild beasts lay upon your lands. Doleful creatures fill your houses. You who fled your homes no longer multiply your days upon the sand. Yea, you who have forsaken our ways, you will die in a fouled nest if you continue this path. But if you heed my warning, the Lord shall lead you through a land of pits into the mountains of God. Yea, Shai-Hulud shall lead you. O God, my flesh longeth for thy way in a dry and thirsty land. You are the only help remaining. You were rebellious. You brought the dry wind, which does not cleanse, nor does it cool. You bear the burden of our desert, and that whirlwind cometh from that place, from that terrible land. I have been in that wilderness. Water runs upon the sand from shattered qanats. Streams cross the ground. Water has fallen from the sky on the belt of Dune. Oh, my friends, God has commanded me, make straight in the desert a highway for our Lord, for I am the voice that cometh to thee from the wilderness. And he's definitely making a lot of John the Baptist allusions to himself right now. In John 1:23, John replied the words of Isaiah the prophet, I am the voice of one calling in the wilderness, make straight the way for the Lord. And so John the Baptist was like a cousin of Jesus. He was but a little older. He was like a forerunner. And so it's Paul is comparing himself to John the Baptist as being a forerunner of Jesus, of the real Messiah, and that he's here to make straight the way for the Lord. We're making it fucking straight right now. He goes on to say, this is no lost Jadida, which is no more inhabited forever. Here we have eaten the bread of heaven, and here the noise of strangers drives us from our homes. They breed for us a desolation, a land wherein no man dwelleth, nor any man pass thereby. People are starting to get pissed. He's using the voice. He's saying all this crazy shit. The riots, they're oh my God, there's going to be a riot here. The priests are closing in on him. He goes on to say, the waters which we spread upon the desert have become blood, blood upon our land. Behold, our desert which could rejoice and blossom. It has lured the stranger and seduced him in our midst. They come for violence. Their faces are closed up as for the last wind of Kralazek. They gather the captivity of the sand. They suck up the abundance of the sand, the treasure hidden in the depths. Behold them as they go forth to their evil work. It is written, and I stood upon the sand, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sand, and upon the head of that beast was the name of God. So this is from the Orange Catholic Bible. We kind of talked about this before in our last session. This was it was from Revelations. Let me see if I can find it in my notes here. But that's a famous quote from Revelations. Let me see if I can find it. I might be able to, maybe not. I don't know. We'll fucking see. No, I can't find it. But whatever. It's the same shit. It's the same shit. Just go back and remember that shit for me. And so Farad'n is kind of watching this. He's this is getting ready to turn into a scene. And Alia's sitting there and she's this is fucking getting real spicy real fast. And then he points out, Paul says, one blasphemy remains. Blasphemy. And the name of that blasphemy is Alia. Points to her fucking eerie temple, and the preachers, they can't take it. They jump him. They fucking jump him. They fucking kill him. They knife him. Everyone sees a fucking priest kill this guy. The crowd goes wild. The crowd goes wild. They freak out. They go, they've killed Muad'Dib. A lot of people think this guy's Muad'Dib. They're the priesthood just killed Muad'Dib. Holy shit. Alia's God's below. Oh my God. And Jessica's it's a little late for that, don't you think? And Ollie is that was Paul. That was your son. Okay. Do you know, when they confirm it, do you know what will happen? Everyone's going to turn against us. We just killed the Messiah of our own religion. That we use to fucking get everybody to do what the fuck we want them to do. She's freaking out. And Jessica stood rooted for a moment, thinking that she had just been told something already known to her. Farad'n's hand upon her arm shattered the moment. My lady, he said. And there was such compassion in his voice that Jessica thought she might die of it right there. There could be no doubting Alia's words. Jessica remembered every intonation of the preacher's voice, hearing her own tricks in it. The long years of instruction she'd spent there upon a young man meant to be emperor, who now lay a shattered mound of bloody rags upon the temple steps. Ghafla, she thinks to herself, Ghafla has blinded me. Yeah, Paul played the martyr in his last card, Daiso. Were you there for War Club? We talked all about the martyr card, the martyr strategy. Yeah, he totally did, that's the thing though. He hates this religion. He wants to destroy this religion. He's yeah, go ahead. He's been wanting to die for 2 books now. This guy's been, honestly, it's sad, but like, I'm happy for him. I'm happy that Paul is finally fucking dead. He's been wanting to be fucking dead for like so long, and he finally gets his wish. And not only does he get his wish, he gets to martyr himself and make his fucking shitty priesthood that he created look like assholes, which was like perfect. I mean, it's like everything he wanted. And so while her mom is distracted with her grief, like, oh fuck, I thought my son was dead. It's like, can you imagine how to process that? Like, you think your son's dead, and then you see this fucking ruined, sad person down here that doesn't even look like him. He looks fucking old as shit. And then you find out that actually is your son. He has been alive this whole time, but now he's dead. And then you get to watch him get stabbed. You know, I mean, like, that's a lot to process. And so while she's distracted, Ollie's like, bring in Ganima! bring in the Ganima! But before they can, boom, the doors are busting. Doors are fucking busting. It's oh my, and these are like plasteel doors. These are crazy doors. Like, it's like, what? Like, these are not supposed to be doors that can be busted down. Leto shows up. Oh, our family's here to greet us. He's got Ganima in tow. She's like freaking out. He's like, hey, Grandma, what's up, Farad'n? How's it going? Behold me, family. I am Ari, the Lion of the Atreides. And here is Arye, the Atreides lioness. We come to set you on to Seshner Nibwib, the golden path. Whoa. Also, Ari does mean like the lion. Like, it's like a Jewish term. I think it's like the Lion of Judah or something. Anyways, Ganima absorbing the trigger words that Sesher Nibu, I don't know how to fuck to say that. In BIW, you go ahead. You take the reins. Tell me how to fucking say that shit. Ganima absorbs the trigger words. Felt locked away in her. Ganima, absorbing the trigger words, felt the locked away consciousness flow into her mind. It flowed with a linear nicety, the inner awareness of her mother hovering there behind it, a guardian at the gate. And Ganima knew in that instant that she had conquered the clamorous past. She possessed a gate through which she could peer when she needed the past. The months of self-hypnotic suppression had built for her a safe place from which to manage her own flesh. So she did it, guys. She did it. You know, there's been a lot of like steps to get here. You know, it was definitely a process to overcome abomination for both of these crazy kids, but she did it. Okay, she's got a handle on it. We're good to go. And she wakes up. She's like, did our plan work? And he's like, well enough. And then Jessica's like, what plan? Like, holy shit. And he kicks the guards' asses, apologizes to Farad, and he's like, hey, she was going to have you killed. I'm sorry, dude. Like, it's whatever. He confronts Alia. She's got a knife. She tries to stab him. Doesn't work. She tries to disembowel him with a kick after she's lost her knife. Leto grabs her leg, fucking swings her around like a rag doll. You know, just fucking gives her a good shaking. You know, it's the whirlwind, you know, the Coriolis storm. And then he gently drops her to the floor. And he's like, look, I could have killed you. I could have thrown you through the wall right now. But you deserve your chance. So I'm going to give you a chance. I've conquered my inner lives. Ganima's done it too. You know? And Ganima's like, yeah, I can show you. We can do this. Like, it's fine. But it's too late. Alia breaks out in a flurry of arguing voices in many different languages. Cursing, pleading, all these voices. I mean, she's absolutely possessed and showing it in front of fucking everybody. It's like super scary. I think about like this in a movie. I wonder how well they're gonna do it in the sci-fi miniseries, because it's like, oh my god, like, because this was like really creepy. I was like, wow, this is definitely like some Exorcist shit. Alia breaks some supposedly unbreakable glass. Or Leto breaks some unbreakable glass. Alia tries to use Jessica's voice. She tries to use the voice with Jessica's voice. Oh. Jessica hears this abomination daughter of her who's possessed using her own voice, you know, trying to tell everybody to stay where they are. She slips into her younger voice. She's pleading, she's saying, Mother, make them stop. Jessica's just fucking crying. I mean, like, she just saw her son die, and now she's witnessing her fucking daughter be possessed and, like, making all these weird noises and witnessing this abomination. And Leto's like, do we really have to have a trial of possession? And Jay's like, she didn't say anything. And the Baron finally speaks up. He's like, who are you to speak of trial? You know, who are you? And Leto says, the choice is yours, Alia. The trial of possession or the window. You know, like, kill yourself. You might want to kill yourself. Or the trial of possession. It's your fucking deal. And the Baron is like, who are you to give me a choice? And I love that Ganymede's like, demon, let her make her own choice. Like, shut the fuck up, Baron. And she tries again. Like, mother, what are they doing? What do you want me to do? Help me. Using her fucking little girl voice at her mom. Like, ugh, what a nightmare. And Leto's like, help yourself. Figure it out. You know, like, come on. He sees what's left of Alia. The shattered bits of her left in her eyes just for a moment. And then she starts to move her body in a stick-like thrusting walk. The Baron is like pleading the whole time. Hey, wait, stop. Don't throw yourself out the window. I got plans. It's fine. We could totally fix this. Like, this scene really reminded me of Hal in 2001: A Space Odyssey, where he's being decommissioned. Bowman's like fucking shutting down his higher brain functions, and he's like, please, no, I can feel it. Stop, you know, like, please, Dave, please, you know, don't. It's like this pleading. And so it doesn't work. She pulls herself over the sill and she's gone. Not even a screech came from her as she fell. Alia chose, and she chose the window. She chose to die. And they look at Jessica and they're like, we told you to pity her. You know, like, this fucking sucks. This is sad. And Jessica just buries her face in Frodden's tunic. She's just like crying like a motherfucker. Like, it's just so sad. I kind of cried a little bit when I read this part in the book. I was just like, man, poor Alia. Like, sucks. Like, it sucks. Like, oh my, like, first her dad, you know, he was just killed in such a shitty way. And then now Paul, and then her right afterwards. I mean, oh my God. And I mean, poor Jessica. I mean, seriously too. Poor Jessica. It's like she made one decision, you know, when she was young, and decided to have a boy instead of a girl. And all of this, you know, all of this happened from this one lady who's just like, put a dick on it instead, you know? I'm gonna make a boy child instead, because, you know, I like my Duke and he kind of wants a boy. All this trouble happens, you know? And I mean, she's having to pay for that fucking choice. The Atreides curse, man. The Atreides curse, Mike Ducey, it's real. The Red Wedding ain't got nothing on this. That's right, Neferkitty. Some high drama. So let's move on to the Future Lovers, chapter 63. And this one also has a really great header. I love this header. The assumption that a whole system can be made to work better through an assault on its conscious elements betrays a dangerous ignorance. This has often been the ignorant approach of those who call themselves scientists and technologists. Chef's kiss. Like, oh, I feel that way all the time, baby, all the time. Like, you have these materialists, you know, these scientists, these technologists who are just like, don't understand the importance of the unconscious element, the super conscious element. You know, they think everything can be reasoned in the light of day, and everything can be fixed in the light of day, and it's just not the case. I'm an artist, you know, and artists, we play upon, you know, the unconscious parts of our minds, or the unconscious parts of our viewers, and that's how, you know, we affect change. And it's not, you know, it's showing you, not telling you. It's just making you feel. It's like working on those elements. Like, Jodorowsky is a master of working on the unconscious, you know, like, or the super conscious. I kind of like the term super conscious better. But yeah, I mean, I just dare you, go watch The Holy Mountain, and you will feel different. You won't know what he's done to you, but something's been done to you. Like, you'll definitely fucking feel it. But yeah, so it's hard to make science and art work together. I don't think it is. I think that like that's why I like comic books so much, is because it works on both sides of your brain. You know, you have the line and the picture, which works on the right side of your brain, and then you also have the words, which work with the left side of your brain, you know, and so you're kind of getting both of these sides at the same time, and it just provides this really interesting experience that is very, it's just, you're just using your whole brain, you know, and I think it's very powerful. And so I think that there's a way to work on the conscious and the unconscious at the same time, and get a lot of shit done. But if you're only working on the conscious level, like, you're fucking up. Like, you're not gonna fix it. You know, you're not gonna fix it just working on the fucking conscious level, you fucking dildos. So, and I get so frustrated with, you know, everyone's made a religion of science lately, and I'm just like, that is not the way, dude. It's not built for that. Like, it's built for a very specific purpose, and it's not built to be a religion. So anyways, Farad and Ganima, they're hanging out. Oh yeah, Haiyan says, yeah, magic is super into reconciling both of those things. Yes, magic is definitely into reconciling both the working with the unconscious and the conscious at the same time, integrating the shadow, so that you're working with both of those things at the same time. Great observation. So Farad and Ganima are hanging out, and Farad is like, man, I don't know what the fuck. These Atreides are wild. Like, Jessica warned me, but like, holy shit, these guys are fucking crazy. He's like, Leto is obviously assuming the throne, but I don't know why they're still talking about betrothal. Like, there's the political reasons are like nil, you know. I don't even know why the fuck I'm still here. Ganima asks if she's seen Leto run at night. He runs to exhaust himself. He returns and rests his head in my lap, and says, ask our mother within to find a way for me to die, he pleads. Oof. Oh man, Leto. Fuck. We got another Atreides fucking martyr on our midst. We got another Atreides fucking victim here. These fucking crazy Atreides. He's already trying to die, just like his dad, you know? He's like, fuck. And she's like, he isn't human, you know? Like, because Fran's like, he needs to take off that weird suit. And he's like, no, he isn't human. That living skin ain't coming off. And guess what? He's going to live for like 4,000 years before the metamorphosis destroys him. Like, that's a weird suit, and it's changing him, and he's gonna live for like 4,000 years. He's gonna be a fucking emperor for like 4,000 years. And she says, the memory of being human is so rich in him. Think of all those lives, cousin. No, you can't imagine what that is because you've no experience of it, but I know. I can imagine his pain. He gives more than anyone ever gave before. Our father walked into the desert trying to escape it. Alia became abomination in fear of it. Our grandmother has only the blurred infancy of this condition, yet must use every Bene Gesserit wile to live with it, which is what Reverend Mother training amounts to anyways. But Leto, he's all alone, never to be duplicated. He called himself the first truly long-range planner in human history. And that's why he wants to die, because he's like, he's not human, and he remembers what it's like to be human, and now he's all alone, and he's just some fucking freak. He's just a fucking freak now, you know? He's just like, he's a big manager, you know? He's just a manager, and he doesn't get to hang out with all the fucking, you know, he's the boss, so he doesn't get to hang out with, you know, the people on the lower level and, like, get to have fun and go to the fucking Christmas office party and shit, you know? He's just like, he's got to keep himself separated. Faradin's like, where do I fit in this big old fucking plan, huh? And she's like, as my mate, dog. You know, and he's like, you mean we're me and you know? And she's like, just that? And she's like, not just that. You're not just my mate, you know? Like, he'll have some responsible tasks for us when we're not producing children, that is. Huh? And he's like, you're a little young, okay? You're like 9 right now, and like you're winking at me, like you're freaking me out. And she's like, don't you I'm not a fucking kid. I love these fucking twins. They have to do this like 10 times a day. Just be like, I'm not a kid. Don't you make that mistake ever again, motherfucker. And there's all this fighting off planet going on since Muad'Dib was killed by his priesthood. So like this wildfire of rebellion is spreading. Jessica enters, or Stilgar enters. He goes to Jessica. Jessica's like, hey man, I see you're still worried about Idaho's death. Don't worry about it, man. We know that guy goaded you into it, you know? Like, don't even worry about it. And he's like, well, I'm glad you're not fucking mad, you know? I need to talk to Leto because like I'm kind of done with this shit and I want to go back to the old ways and I don't give a fuck. And like whether with or without you, you know, I'm gonna take my friend and we're gonna go back to the old ways. And Ganyman's like, well, what are you gonna do when the desert's fucking gone? Because it's fucking going away, dude. And he's like, stop fucking with me, you know? And he's like, Leto told me about his golden path. I don't like it. I don't like this golden path. I don't want it. And agony was like, but everyone longs for a golden age still. They long for a pharaonic empire, which Leto will give them. They long for a rich peace with abundant harvests, plentiful trade, a leveling of all except the golden ruler. He's like, it'll be the death of the Fremen. I don't want this peace. It's going to make me soft. It's going to make my Fremen soft, and I don't like it. She's like, don't worry about it. We'll still need fighters. Look, we'll still need fighters, okay? So you guys will still be killing motherfuckers. Don't worry about it. And we're also going to have absolute control over the spice. So it's no big deal. And Tychonik is like, I don't like this either. Like the Sardaukar guy's like, I don't like this either. Fuck this shit. I love that Stilgar and Tychonik like have common ground now. Like the Sardaukar and the Fremen, who are just like such bitter enemies, are now both like, you know what? You fuck this guy. Never mind. Like, you're cool. This guy fucking, his peace plan pisses me off. I don't want anything to do with it. And then Faradin's kind of thinking to himself, he's like, man, I don't know about marrying this fucking weird little kid, bitch. Like, I mean, this non-child, but like, I don't think I can avoid it. Like, I don't know. Like, I think I'm kind of stuck here. And Ganima goes on to say, he'll lead humans through a cult of death into the free air of exuberant life. He speaks of death because that's necessary. It's a tension by which the living know they're alive. When his empire falls, and oh yes, it'll fall. You think this is Kralazek now, but Kralazek is yet to come. And when it comes, humans will have renewed their memory of what it's like to be alive. The memory will persist as long as there is a single human living. We'll go through the crucible once more and we'll come out of it. We always rise from our own ashes. Always. Nice. I like it. And then Still's like, no more worms? Really, though? Like, really? And she's like, yeah, they're all going to be dead in 200 years, but they'll come back. Don't worry about it. The guild will make it through the lean times, and only then because of its stockpiles and ours. But there'll be abundance after Kralazek. The worms will return after my brother goes into the sand. Aw. Aw. Phoenix humans. I know, that's right, Clear. We're the Phoenix. I mean, the idea of the Phoenix comes from us because that is us. You know, I mean, how many times I feel like have I, you know, fucking burned out and been reborn? Many times. Many times on a personal level have I burned out and been reborn. And I'm sure you guys have experienced that as well. And humanity, as above, so below. If it happens on the individual level, it also happens on the super level. So, let's go to chapter 64, our final chapter. Godling Emperor. He's a little godchild. And again, we have a great header. We got a lot of good headers this session. As with so many other religions, Muad'Dib's golden elixir of life degenerated into external wizardry. Its mystical signs became mere symbols for deeper psychological processes. And those processes, of course, ran wild. What they needed was a living god, but they didn't have one. A situation Muad'Dib's son has corrected. So, he's now a living god. He did it. He did it. His dad pretended to be a living god. Didn't want to take the plunge. You know, he didn't want to be alive for 4,000 years. He liked his dick. He didn't want to outlive Chaney and the rest. You know, he's like, I'm too human. I've been doing this human thing for too long. I really don't want to give this up. But his son did it. His son did it, and now he is a living god, which is what a lot of humans do kind of pray for. We want to like have a fucking cosmic daddy come down and fix everything for us. And Frank Herbert is trying to tell us that that's not a great idea. That's like, you don't really want that. You think you want that, but you don't really want that. Like, it's gonna fucking suck. So let's get into it. It's time to pay homage to the Godling Emperor, a god of vengeance who promised them peace, who had submitted to the Arifa. Now remember, the Arifa are the Fremen judges whether you're a demon or not, you know. And so he walked through fire unscathed. He let them try to stab him. They threw acid on him. No big deal. Ran off. He ate their poisons and laughed. Like, give me some poison. I'll fucking eat it. Ha, you dumb bitch. He summoned a worm and stood facing its mouth. He toppled a guild frigate by lifting one of its landing fins. So he let the judges check that shit. I was like, look, I'm a god. I'm Shai-Hulud personified, okay? You can't kill me. Fuck you. Deal with it. You know? And so they did. And they're like, okay, fine. You're our Shai-Hulud god. Fine. You win, dude. You fucking win. Jessica's watching upstairs. She didn't want to be down there. She didn't want to watch this shit. She's upstairs chilling. She and Farad'n have been outmaneuvered by Leto and Ghanima, and she thinks to herself she was particularly bitter at the way the Sisterhood's mythology had trapped Alia. Fear built on fear. The habits of generations had imprinted fate of abomination upon her. Alia had known no hope. Of course she'd succumbed. Her fate made the accomplishment of Leto and Ghanima even more difficult to face. Not one way out of the trap, but two. Ghanima's victory over the inner lives and her insistence that Alia deserved only pity were the bitterest things of all. Hypnotic suppression under stress, linked to the wooing of a benign ancestor, had saved Ghanima. They might have saved Alia, but without hope, nothing had been attempted until it was too late. Alia's water had been poured upon the sand. And it's true. It's sad. It's fucking sad. And that's what happens. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, self-fulfilling prophecy. They're like, oh, abomination. That's always what happens. We just can't even have this because they just were too ignorant and didn't know how to, like, fix this problem or surmount this issue that comes up. And so they just fucking turn it into this boogeyman story. And then that fucking story got in Alia's head and she believed it and she thought that was it. You know, there's no way around it. And then she fucking became abomination. And there was not one way out, but two. Fucking sad. Leto, downstairs, he has a giant canopic jar containing the water of Muad'Dib at his right elbow. His father within laughed at the gesture while admiring it. He's got a big jar of his dad's water right there. And Farad'n is sitting cross-legged beside the jar of Muad'Dib's water in the position of the royal scribe. So Farad'n is the royal scribe. He gets to just write down whatever Leto says. Just write it down. It's a new title. It's a new thing. But Farad'n's like, kind of like, this is kind of chill, like, honestly. Like, he's not that bummed. He's not that bummed about it. Tyek and Stilgar had formed a partnership of distrust, which Leto thinks is funny. And I thought about it, too. Like, in God's court, you know, with the court of angels, there's only one angel who is allowed to sit in God's presence, and that is his scribe, the angel Metatron. So I think of Farad'n into, yeah, he's like Metatron, which also, I mean, Farad'n and Metatron, like, well, it's okay. So Metatron was originally a man named Enoch, and he was such a fucking cool dude, and God liked him so much that he didn't even let him die. He just scooped him up and brought him up to heaven and transformed him into an angel. He didn't have to fucking die. He's like, I don't even want you to die, dude. You're so cool. I'm not even gonna let you fucking die, bro. I'm just gonna scoop you up and take you up here. I'm gonna make you a fucking amazing, the best angel. I'm gonna make you the best. You know, I like you so much. I'll let you sit down in my presence, dog. Like, I like you. And so, and then he renames him Metatron. And so it's interesting that Farad'n kind of assumes that role. So it's time for Stilgar. He's like the last Fremen to come in and give his fealty. He gives Leto the headband worn by Ghanima when he took her into the desert to protect her. And in return, Leto fucking rips a piece of her hem off, gives it back to him, and says, I give you back the robe she wore when she was stolen from your desert camp, forcing me to save her. Because he was like, hey, I hooked it up for you. You know, I'm not going to give you a bunch of gems and shit, you know, like, I fucking did you a favor, you know. And he's like, yeah, and then your favor, she got kidnapped, you know. But he's like, are you mocking me? Are you mocking me right now? And he's like, no, I'm not mocking you. I've given you a gift without price. I command you to carry it always next to your heart as a reminder that all humans are prone to error and that all leaders are human, which is really sweet. And he's like, well, all right. Like, Stilgar laughs. He's like, okay, you got me. That was a good one. That was a good one. And Leto then calls himself the Nabe of Nabes, King of Kings. And Stilgar thinks, man, remember when I thought about killing this kid? Remember the first chapter of this book when I thought about killing this kid? It's too late now. It's too late now, dude. Fuck. And he asks Stilgar to read the jar, and the jar said, this water is the ultimate essence, the source of outward streaming creativity. Though motionless, this water is the means of all movement. And he goes on to tell Stilgar, the beginnings and the ends are one. Everything returns later in changed form. You have felt thoughts in your head. Your descendants will feel thoughts in their bellies. I like that a lot. So pretty much he's just like, this jar is like This man's water, like this man like kicked off this whole thing, and now for the next thousands and thousands of years, everything will be dictated by this one man's water, So he's like, dismissed, get out of here, we love you, bye still, appreciate you. Go with Gurney. Gurney, he'll be on your council. Now it's Faradin's turn, and Faradin stands up, and he's like, all right, I need you to give me your Sardaukar. And Faradin's like, well, make me an offer. And so Leto goes on to tell him, there's always been a prevailing mystique in any civilization. It builds itself as a barrier against change, and that always leaves future generations unprepared for the universe's treachery. All mystiques are the same in building these barriers. The religious mystique, the hero-leader mystique, the messiah mystique, the mystique of science/technology, and the mystique of nature itself. We live in an imperium which such a mystique has shaped. And now that Imperium is falling apart because most people don't distinguish between mystique and their universe. It tends to take over the consciousness, becoming all things to the observer. So mystiques are things that build a barrier against change, and that always leaves future generations unprepared for the universe's treachery. I like that. I was thinking about our own mystiques in our own civilizations. I was like, yeah. He goes on to say, I am a community dominated by one who is ancient and surpassingly powerful. He fathered a dynasty which endured for 3,000 years. His name was Harem, and until his line trailed out in the congenital weaknesses and superstitions of a descendant, his subjects lived in a rhythmic sublimity. They moved unconsciously with the changes of the seasons. They bred individuals who tended to be short-lived, superstitious, and easily led by a god king. Taken as a whole, they were a powerful people. Their survival as a species became habit. And so he's talked about Harem several times. And Harem is a descendant of the tribe of Judah. So in Israel, there was 12 tribes. The tribe of Judah became like the main tribe. This is where we get the Jews from, the tribe of Judah. So King David was from the tribe of Judah. So was King Solomon. He was also of the tribe of Judah. And King Solomon was like a fucking wizard. Like, he was a fucking wizard, Like, he had the Ark of the Covenant, okay? Like, they were, like, at their most poppin' when Solomon was there. And Jesus is also a descendant of the tribe of Judah. So that's what that business is. Yes. Yeah, Joe Quano, you're on it. Jesus was of the tribe of Judah as well. Because the tribe of Judah prophesies the Messiah and say that they're like, oh, and the Messiah will come from our fucking tribe. So, a little fun fact for you there. A little fun fact. And so he goes on to say, we kept the presence of death a dominant specter among the living here, talking about the Fremen. By that presence, the dead change the living. The people of such a society sink down into their bellies, but when time comes for the opposite, when they arise, they are great and beautiful. So he's like, I'm going to keep death present, because that's a good thing to have in your society. That's something that we sweep under the rug here. Sweep that death under the rug. It's not good for us. I think we've really been our minds have been warped by it, by trying to sweep death away from ourselves. People used to, when you used to die at home, and then, your wife or your husband or your sister or whoever would like clean your body, and you just hang out. Your body would just be there for a few days where people could just hang out with you, hang out with your dead body, say goodbye, do these things. Like, and there's nothing more like, oh my God, you'll be like shocked into reality if you're in the room with a dead body, especially a dead body that that used to contain your loved one. So, so he's like, yeah, we gotta get that death thing going on again. That's pretty good for us. So he also comments Faradin. He says that he has the real talent of a historian, a genius for reading the present in terms of the past. So he's like, you're gonna be a great scribe. Your real genius is being a fucking historian. Like, and that's what Faradin was like complaining about in the beginning of the book. He's like, I don't want to be emperor. Like, I just want to like do my studies and like go to my library and like read my books and like do that. So he kind of got his wish. He tells him the Bene Gesserit believed they could predict the course of evolution, but they overlooked their own changes in the course of that evolution. They assumed that they would stand still while their breeding plan evolved. I have no such reflexive blindness. I am abomination by the sisterhoods, standards, perhaps. Harem is cruel and autocratic. I partake of his cruelty. Mark me well. I have the cruelty of the husbandman, and his human universe. And this human universe is my farm. Fremen once kept tame eagles as pets, but I'll keep a tame Farad'n. Farad'n's like, beware my claws. I'm maybe a fucking eagle. You may be a husbandman. I don't fucking farmer dude, but like I will cut you. And he's like, don't worry, I'll use you well. You know, don't worry, I'll use you well. I don't have a dick though. I don't have a dick. It's gone. You know, the suit took my dick, and there'll be no betrothal between you and my sister, okay? My sister's gonna marry me. I'm gonna marry my sister, but I don't have a dick. You get me? You feel me, dog? Okay? I don't have a dick. I'm gonna marry my sister. Ganima will continue the Atreides line for the Bene Gesserit. I mean, my breeding program. I'm taking over the Bene Gesserit program. It's my program now. And I need you to father an Atreides dynasty and let me mold your descendants in the most intensive, inclusive training program in all of history. So I'm going to marry my sister, but you get to fuck her. And we're going to call all your descendants, you know, my descendants. And I'm just going to breed these motherfuckers for thousands of years. I'm going to use your seed. And like, what do you think? Like, what do you think? And he's like, you're fucking crazy. You're a madman. You know, he's like, I'm not a man. I'm a freak now. I'm not. Let's get one thing straight. And then Ganima comes up. She takes Homeboy's hand. And he says, as my mother was not wife, you will not be husband, but perhaps there will be love. And that will be enough. You know, he's like, look, I don't even have a dick. Okay. I know this like is a little weird, but like, you know, you at least get to love somebody. I don't get that. Okay? So, like, you need to quit being a bitch about this. I offer your descendants the Imperium, and I offer you peace. And he's like, will you try to force me into your habit of peace? And he's like, I will. And he's like, I will resist you every day of my life. And he's like, that's what I'm hoping for, fam. That's what I'm hoping for. Let's make it official. We'll call you Hark al-Ada, the breaking of the habit. What do you think of your new name? I'll give you a new name, too. I'll throw in a new name at no extra charge. You know, we'll fucking rename you. And Ganima's like, just give him the fucking Sardaukar, okay? He's gonna get it. Like, just fucking quit playing. Like, just give him the fucking Sardaukar. And he's like, fine. Take him. And now, like, fucking, he's gonna mate those two like, the Fremen and the Sardaukar. He's gonna fucking mix those guys up together. By the way, Leto's, since he doesn't have a dick, he's really obsessed with, like, putting other people's dicks in other people, you know? Like, he's like, hey, you need to breed over there. What's going on? Hey, I want to see what happens here. I need you guys to fucking get busy. So Leto and Ganima then stand back to back. They're the royal androgyne, and they are looking outward, protecting each other. And he says, remember that when you're face to face with my Ganima. Remember that when you whisper of love and soft things, when you are most tempted by the habits of my peace and my contentment, your back will remain exposed. So, mic drop. He leaves the room. And Ganima turns to him and said, one of us had to accept the agony, and he was always the stronger. The end. Now kiss. Yes, Nabiro. Now kiss. Like, I am the God Emperor Cuck, and I need you to fuck my sister, and I'm going to marry my sister, but I'm not going to fuck her. It's going to be totally cool. Like, I'm going to be breeding your descendants for forever because I can't have sex. So I'm going to just control you guys and who you have sex with. So that's pretty cool. So that's it. That's it, guys. But I before we totally wrap here, I just want to say, you know, he had to accept the agony. One of us had to accept the agony, and he was always the stronger. And so, we've kind of talked about Paul Atreides being like an antichrist type figure. I think I might do a whole video on this for December. But it's like, but he rejected it, you know, in the end. Like he rejected it, and he didn't like at the end of Jesus's whole thing is a crucifixion, right? You know, so Jesus allowed himself to be crucified for the good of humanity, you know, to wash away our sins. And Leto II is essentially kind of doing the same thing. I mean, he's just crucified himself for the next 4,000 fucking years. You know, like he's crucified himself on the cross of space and time. and he will be writhing there in agony, turning into a weird worm. Freak, alone, nobody, no girlfriends, just doing that for our sins, you know. he's doing this for humanity to be in a better fucking place, you know. And man, that's powerful. Poor Leto, you know. And yet we got Atreides, who is just I mean, yeah, another one fucking is up there for the sad ride. Frank Herbert's real hard on these Atreides. You know, he makes you love him so much, and then he fucking does so many terrible things to them, and you're just like, oh, why, Frank? Why? Yes, Joe Quano. He has crucified himself on the cross of space and time. That's true. I think about that all the you know, you have the cross, right? You know, the fucking symbol of the cross. And then, you know, you have Jesus writhing on it. And so I can't remember where I heard this before, but I like the interpretation that the cross represents space and time, you know, space and time. And then that's matter. That creates Malkuth, the physical realm that we're in, where spirit crystallizes into matter. And then you have the flesh that's nailed to the cross of space and time, writhing in agony, you know, because being kind of hurts being alive. It's kind of hurts having a physical body, and it's kind of like a lot of shit to deal with. So yeah. So I'm really excited. Thank you so much for coming with me on yet another tour of Arrakis. I'm so honored that you chose to come with me, and thank you so much for being here and supporting Dune Club. I'm very honored to be back with you once again, and I'm really excited to announce God Emperor Dune Club coming this spring in the year 2021. So 2021. Not sure, maybe March, April, you know, we'll see. We got some real loose plans here, but we're definitely going to be back for some God Emperor Dune Club, and I can't fucking wait. When I started Dune Club, I was like, I can't wait to get to God Emperor, because it's been weird. Okay, it's been a weird ride. I think we can all agree it's been a weird ride. Leto just turned himself into a worm god and like married his sister, and then like fucking, you know, it's crazy. But like, dude, God Emperor is like on a whole other level of weird. It just gets turned up to an 11, dog. Like just, oh my, Frank Herbert just really goes for it. And that book is just so filled. It's just chock full of amazing fucking philosophy. Just so much knowledge in that book, and humor. I think it's the funniest Dune book, because Leto has a real fucked up sense of humor, you know, like Leto has a real funny sense of humor, and he really likes fucking with people, and it's just like that is like I think the one Dune book where I've like laughed out loud, you know, like the most, like I've just been like, whoa, like, so I'm really fucking pumped for God Emperor Dune Club coming this spring. And also, I'm excited to announce Exorcist Club. That's right, Exorcist Club. We're going to be doing Exorcist Club in October this year, starting October 18th on Sunday. This will be a 4-part class. I should put one more. 4-part class. This book is divided into 4 sections. So we're going to read one section, which is about 100 pages, give or take. So every week we're gonna read our section, and then we're gonna talk about it on Sundays. So get ready for Exorcist Club. The power of Christ compels you to join Exorcist Club, and I'm sure there'll be some Exorcist Club merch coming soon as well. Speaking of merch, if you've had as much fun as I have and you want to continue to support these wonderful book clubs, please take a moment to go to danikexix.bigcartel.com and check out all this sweet fucking Dune merch I have for you. We still got our back to school Dune packs. It's got a lot of cool stuff. Bene Gesserit notebooks. We got fucking Mentat chapsticks. We got fucking Space and Guild highlighters. I think I'm actually going to bust them up pretty soon and start selling individuals. I've been just like selling them as a pack, but I might fucking sell them as individuals. Chome Company fucking notebooks. We got the Spice Melange CBD lip balm. That's separate. We got some Dune Club pins still. We've got Abomination Alia, prints signed and personalized, and also bathwater from this photo shoot. This is actual bathwater in our Bathwater of Life pendant necklaces. This can be worn as I'm wearing it as a 14-inch choker, or you can adjust it to be longer. So if you want to make it a little longer, if you got a bigger neck, you can adjust it all the way to 28-inch necklace. And it's filled with real bath water. There's a little bit of spice melange in there. It kind of separates out, so you got to kind of like shake it up a little bit to get the make it, get it to activate and get all blue again. Get all bath water of life blue. So check that out. DanicaXIX.BigCartel.com. Thank you for everyone who's already ordered. So many of you guys fucking ordered some stuff, and thank you so much. You guys have really been super supportive of this class, and I'm just like I said, just very honored. I'm very honored to be your guide through Arrakis, Our Lady of Dune, right here. Right here. I love Dune. just want to say I love Dune a little bit, and I love you guys for coming with me. Let's take a moment to read the afterwords written by Frank Herbert, called "When I Was Writing Dune" by Frank Herbert. There was no room in my mind for concerns about the book's success or failure. I was concerned only with the writing. 6 years of research had preceded the day I sat down to put the story together, and the interweaving of the many plot layers I had planned required a degree of concentration I had never before experienced. It was to be a story exploring the myth of the Messiah. It was to produce another view of a human-occupied planet as an energy machine. It was to penetrate the interlocking workings of politics and economics. It was to be an examination of absolute prediction and its pitfalls. It was to have an awareness drug in it and tell what could happen through dependence on such a substance. Potable water was to be an analog for oil and for water itself, a substance whose supply diminishes every day. It was to be an ecological novel, then, with many overtones, as well as a story about people and their human concerns with human values. And I had to monitor each of these levels at every stage in the book. That's a lot, Frank Herbert. That's very ambitious. There wasn't room in my head to think about much else. Makes sense. I'll co-sign that. Following the first publication, reports from the publishers were slow and, as it turned out, inaccurate. The critics had panned it. More than 12 publishers had turned it down before publication. There was no advertising. Something was happening out there, though. For 2 years, I was swamped with bookstore and reader complaints that they could not get the book. The Whole Earth catalog praised it. I kept getting these telephone calls from people asking me if I were starting a cult. The answer, God, no. Please, no, I'm not starting a cult. What I'm describing is the slow realization of success. By the time the first 3 Dune books were completed, there was little doubt that this was a popular work, one of the most popular in history, I am told, with some 10 million copies sold worldwide. Now the most common question people ask is, what does this success mean to you? It surprises me. I didn't expect failure either. It was a work, and I did it. Parts of Dune Messiah and Children of Dune were written before Dune was completed. They fleshed out more in the writing, but the essential story remained intact. I was a writer, and I was writing. The success meant I could spend more time writing. Looking back on it, I realized I did the right thing instinctively. You don't write for success. That takes part of your attention away from the writing. If you're really doing it, that's all you're doing. Writing. There's an unwritten compact between you and the reader. If someone enters a bookstore and sets down hard-earned money, energy, for your book, you owe that person some entertainment and as much more as you can give. And that was really my intention all along. Signed, Frank Herbert. What a little muffin. What a sweet little muffin. God damn it. I love you, Frank Herbert. He's so great. He died in like 1986, so I never got a chance, Oof. Would have loved to talk to that guy. What a cutie. Thanks, Herbert. Thanks, Frank Herbert, for all your work. It's given me so much life. Thank you. We love you, Frank. Mwah. 19 Academy thanks these lovely people for all their generosity and support on patreon.com/DanicaXIX. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, ring the bell, and tell your friends. You can join me live on twitch.tv/DanicaXIX and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DanicaXIX. Support for 19 Academy comes from viewers like you on patreon.com/DanicaXIX.